Hello, I'm Katharine Hutchinson, Head of Humanities here at Chesterton Community College. I'm going to talk to you about how to help your child succeed in the humanities subjects. At Key Stage 3, humanities comprises geography, history, Latin and religious studies. Our aim is to develop engaged and articulate learners who are interested in learning about the past, present and future of the world in which they live. The humanities teachers work together to plan a programme of study that will allow our students to become confident world citizens who have an understanding of how our past influences our present and future. Perhaps the most important learning trait of a successful humanities student is that they are inquisitive. We want our students to be curious and to ask as many questions as possible to help them develop their understanding. Parents and carers have a huge role to play in supporting us with this. Please encourage your child to be inquisitive. We realise it can be very annoying when your child keeps asking you, why? But this is what we encourage them to do in their humanities lessons at school, and it would be very helpful if you could encourage us at home too. If you don't know the answer to their questions, work together to try and find them out. Talk about the processes you are using to explore the issues, and let your child take a leading role. Please encourage your child to question everything. Ask them to seek justifications when they hear people making statements. For example, and we realise this may be a little out of your comfort zone to begin with, encourage your child to push you to justify the decisions that you are making. If you tell them it's time for bed, they should be asking you why. What's your reasoning for this decision? Do the same to them. Push them to justify the statements and decisions that they make. Please ask your child what they've learnt in their humanities lessons. Try to focus on what they've learnt, not just what they've done. There's a very big difference between these two things. Try to build some time into each evening to ask your child what they've learnt at school that day, and ask them to tell you how it connects to things that they've learnt in the past. It would be great if you could also ask them to think how it might link to future lessons. If your child resists these discussions, please persevere. Conversations about learning provide a powerful vehicle for your child to consolidate their new knowledge and skills every day. Another key way in which you can support your child's work in humanities is to encourage them to think about how the subjects link together. Try to give them opportunities to discuss the big picture. Watching or listening to the news together, or reading a newspaper article, can often provide a springboard for a discussion about how current, real-world issues are linked to the humanities subjects that your child is studying at school. In terms of supporting with homework, please do ask your child about the homework they've completed in humanities. All of our homework assignments are set on Edmodo. Again, it would be most helpful if you could focus on the learning that has happened rather than the task that's been completed. How does this learning link to the learning in their previous lessons? How do they think the teacher might develop it next time? Please take the time to link to your child's Seesaw account. Here you will be able to see the work that they've completed in their orange feedback books at school. Not only will you be able to see their assessments, but you will also be able to see the teacher's comments on this work and your child's responses to these comments. It would be fantastic if you could go through these with your child. Ask them to identify what the teacher was trying to get them to improve in their work by setting these particular feedback tasks. By prompting your child to identify these learning points, you will be helping them to develop skills of self-evaluation, and this will stand them in good stead for studying at Key Stage 4 and of course beyond. Ask your child to discuss any mistakes that they have made and to explain how they could avoid these in the future. Be willing to share with them any mistakes that you yourself have made and what you've learnt from this. Show them that learning from mistakes is a very positive thing and encourage them to see mistakes as the stepping stones to learning. You might like to use the FAIL acronym that you can see in the slide. It is, of course, just a first attempt in learning. When you look at your child's work on Seesaw, don't forget to tell them how proud you are of their achievements. Cambridge is a fantastic place to live when it comes to supporting learning in the humanities subjects. We're surrounded by museums that link to the Key Stage 3 curriculum, and there are local nature reserves and countryside parks that you could visit too. Please do take your child to these exciting places. This doesn't need to be expensive. Most of the university's museums offer free entry. There are some superb events in Cambridge over the course of the year, including the Festival of Science in March, Open Cambridge in September, and the Festival of Idea in October. Try to visit some of these events as a family, and then talk about how the things that you've seen, heard, and learnt about link to the topics that your child has studied in their humanities lessons at school. I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Imagine you have a magic bank account. Every day, it credits you with £86,400, and every night it writes off what hasn't been spent. What would you do? I'd spend every single penny, every single day. Let's face it would be rather wasteful not to do so. Well, I'm afraid that the bad news is that current school funding levels in Cambridgeshire don't permit me to set up this bank account for each Chesterton family. The good news is that you all do have a similar bank account already in existence. It's called Time. Every morning, you're credited with 86,400 seconds, and every night, the bank writes off what wasn't spent wisely during the day. You can never get it back. Please, make the most of today. Don't leave these conversations about learning until year 11. It's too late then. So many seconds will have been lost. Please, don't even leave it to the weekend, or even just until tomorrow. Start today. Have those conversations with your child. Encourage their curiosity and their inquisitiveness. By doing so, you will make a huge difference to their outcome in the humanities subjects. Thank you for your support.